Good morning and welcome to Gnome Hollow Homestead. I'm going to start a little series about owning chickens since we're in the chick season where everyone gets excited when they go to Tractor Supply or one of your local stores that may have chicks available for purchase. And you see the cute little chicks and the cute little ducks, and everyone's like, oh, you need to take them home. Even if you already have chickens, because we all know how chicken math works. So I just wanted to give some tips and advice that have proven helpful for me. I'm by no means an expert, and everything I've learned I've picked up from other sources. And also trial and error with owning my own chickens and ducks. And I apologize if there's a little bit of background noise because I live in New Hampshire and we just had over 3 feet of snow arrive yesterday. So we are without power and running off generators in our town. And so there might be a little bit of generator noise in the background, but hopefully we can overcome that. So the first thing I want to say about owning chicks and ducks and how irresistible they are when you go and see the little babies in the store is that those little babies come with a lot of responsibility and a lot of time and dedication. So first and foremost, when you pick up these chicks, typically, depending on where you live, and if you live anywhere in New England, most likely if you're picking up chicks from the store now, they cannot live outside for at least about a month or so. So you have to find a place to keep them inside, and you have to keep them, they need heat. So you'd have to keep them somewhere where you could have what they call a brooder, which is, just kind of an enclosed space where you can keep them with fresh shavings and also with a heat lamp. Or now they make the convenient little heating pads, but those are costly and not everyone can afford those. So if you do have to use a heat lamp, please make sure that you're practicing safety, make sure that you're not keeping anything close to it, that it has plenty of space, and that it is, a good distance above your shavings and your animals, so that you don't have any fire or anything like that. So that's one of the first things is you want to kind of evaluate your living environment and make sure that you have adequate space to keep these babies until they're ready to live, outside in a coop. And some people are able to acclimate them right away to being outside or in a garage or something like that. As long as you have the space, and again, the biggest thing with chicks is being able to provide that heat source. I also am very careful about the food. Most people will use like a chick starter, which is a very fine mash, and that's great. You want to pick something that is healthy and nutritional for them. I prefer to go organic, but again, cost-wise, not everybody can do that. So you just want to make sure that you're feeding them a high-quality food, because right from the get-go, how you feed and water your birds is going to help determine their overall health. And chickens have a multitude of different types of illnesses and diseases that they can contract. So you really have to be careful and make sure they're getting good nutrition right from the day you bring them home. A lot of people these days do not use the medicated food. Most chicks at hatcheries are given some form of medication when they're born. And you can also request that with some hatcheries that they are medicated prior to you receiving them. So it used to be when I first started having chickens that you did use medicated food, but now it seems the trend is that you don't. So I just used regular organic chick starter, and then on the packages it usually tells you how long to give that to them, and then you can switch over to it's still like a mash type food, but it's above and beyond the chick ages. So and then eventually they'll graduate into layer pellets. So with the water, where I purchased my chicks, they had a Strong Animals chick starter pack. It's a blue and white box, and it comes with chicken elixir and some other additives that you can put into the water for the chicks, and that will help them to get extra electrolytes and vitamins and nutrients that really affect their overall health going forward. And I still use the chicken elixir or apple cider vinegar in my chicken water. And I have probably some of the healthiest chickens that I've ever owned. So they've all been doing really well. Another thing to consider is that the amount of chickens. So everyone wants chicken for eggs, which is great. So I started out with 23 chickens, which sounds like a lot, but that was about a year ago today, and I now have 11 chickens. So I say that because you need to kind of prepare that things are going to happen. There are predators that go after chickens. Luckily, I've only lost one of my chickens to a predator. But there are also some health issues, like I mentioned before. So some of my chickens, a couple of them were egg bound, which means that, they're not able to release the eggs from their body properly, and they kind of get backed up in a way. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do for them when that happens. And so I have, unless you bring them to the vet or catch it early enough that it can be remedied. But in most cases, they will not survive in that situation. So I have lost a couple chickens to that. I did end up with some roosters, even though I ordered pullets and I didn't really have any straight runs. I still ended up with some roosters because it happens, and I particularly don't want roosters because it's a whole another level of responsibility. So I rehomed my roosters to Good Home, to a person local in town, and so I lost about 4 of my birds just because they were roosters. And then some others that I've lost, I'm not sure why I lost them. They seemed perfectly healthy. And so it just sometimes happens. So you want to start out with enough that if you are looking to supply eggs for you and your family, that you will leave yourself a little wiggle room with the number of chickens that you get. But also considering that, there are considerations for coop space and run space and things like that. If you're not able to free range your chickens, you'll want to make sure that they have enough room to live peacefully, because chickens do have a pecking order. They are not nice to each other. These cute little chicks and everything, they grow up to be kind of mean to each other. So if you don't provide them with entertaining things and enough space, they will kind of get on each other's nerves and peck each other, and then you end up with other problems. So, I've gone over some of the basic things to consider when owning chickens or seeing them at the store and thinking of purchasing them. So a couple of resources. I have the Stories Guide to Raising Poultry. Any of the stories books. I also have the Stories Guide to Raising Ducks because I do have ducks. I consider any of the stories guides like my Bible. That it says right on the cover. It goes through all the different breeds, and you want to pick breeds that are kind of relational to the area that you live in. So if you live in a cold climate, you want chickens that are cold hardy and are able to survive well in that type of climate. If you want friendly chickens, then you want chickens that are docile. If you want chickens that aren't going to always be laying on and protecting the eggs that they lay, then you don't want chickens that are typically very broody. And books like this will go through the breeds and it will give you all of those characteristics for that breed, so that you can really fine-tune the type of birds that you own and match them to your climate, to your living style. If you have kids, you want chickens that are going to be friendly. So you can really use resources like this to help you with that. It also goes through the care and the health, so it'll go over different common health issues like egg bound or prolapse. I've had to deal with that. Pasty butt, which is very common. Chickens have a lot of butt problems, so be prepared for that, especially when they're little chicks. If their brooder is too warm, they'll get like pasty butt, which is exactly what it sounds like they get poop kind of stuck to their bum and their feathers, which means that's, they're not releasing that properly. So eventually that kind of causes issues. So you want to make sure that you take care of that. But these types of resources go through all of those different things and tips and tricks to take care of those things at home. So you don't have to have a vet or expensive vet bills for your chickens. You can take care of a lot of it right by yourself at home, if you are willing to do that. So really good resource there. I also really recommend, this book is called The Backyard Homestead. And this has a lot of good homesteading information if you're planning on having animals and gardens. And it gives you even like information about chickens and other animals. It gives you like information on all different kinds of plants and vegetables. It gives you like little grids to help you lay out your yard based on how many acres you have and whatnot, to kind of plan out, where you want things to be. So I'm going to end this video with that information so far, but like I said, I want this to kind of be a series. So today was just kind of going over the basics and things to think about when you see those cute little chicks and ducks. We didn't even touch on ducks yet, but that's a whole other story. But just some things to keep in mind when you see those cute little chicks in the store. It's great, and they are a lot of fun, and I love them. I love the eggs. They can turn into something that you can give to neighbors or friends or coworkers or sell them. So they kind of open up that homestead farm type life if that's what you're seeking. But there are a lot of things to consider before you put them in that box and bring them home. So just keep that in mind. you know, there is a lot of commitment and responsibility involved with the cuteness. And so many people get caught up in the cuteness and don't think about these things. And then unfortunately, the chickens or chicks end up being rehomed or worse. So really want to just put out there to take some of these things into mind when you're thinking about getting chickens. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I've owned chickens for many years, but I'm, you know, I live and learn, and I use resources. I'm not an expert, but I definitely can help answer questions or point you to resources if you're interested in that. Please like and follow our YouTube channel for more tips and tricks and updates on the Gnome Hollow Homestead. We do have a Facebook page. It's Gnome Hollow Homestead. Please like and follow that if you haven't. And feel free to leave comments on either the Facebook page or the videos that I post on the channel. All right, hope everyone is having a great day, and hope you have a great week. And I'll see you with my next video on things to consider when owning chickens and ducks. Thank you.